the other thing and then the other thing. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, let's do it.
Excellent. Then welcome to Section 31, episode number 344. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I'm Rogue Schindler.
This week we are going to wrap up what we started last week, the talk about Gen Con. We had another day or so, day plus of entertainment in store. And then we're going to move on and talk about a little bit about what's Spotlight series is going on, TNG week. So we'll talk about that. And the Vulcan expansion was released, so we ought to mention a thing or two from that. Sound like plan?
Sounds good.
Excellent. So when last we left our intrepid heroes,
intrepid is indeed applicable.
Yeah, it was Sunday night. You had just come back from gaming. I probably was already out because I got up at 5-ish to go pick up the rental car from the airport. We rented a car, and so previously, months ago, I don't know, I was listening to some podcast or something that mentioned there was this eclipse happening, and it was going to be coming, across large swaths of the United States. So I checked, and it happened to be the day after Gen Con. So I'm like, well, we were already staying till Monday anyway. Maybe we can stay until Tuesday and go for a drive that day. I looked around on the map. I did some, kind of calculations. Figure there's a major highway that leads kind of southwestish to this place. There's a pretty decent, it's a little small town, but it was a small town right in the middle of the path. And NASA had this site that had this map where you could tell where the longest point of the eclipse would be, and it happened to be right there. So
that was really cool. Yeah.
It's like we should totally do this. So I said, hey Debbie, my wife, can I go an extra day vacation? She's like, yeah, go ahead. And I sent a note to you and said, hey, eclipse, you want to join me? And you were like, well, let me find out. Yes.
It's like similar conversation.
Yeah. So it turns out this Hopkinsville that I had found on the map was having this big, celebration. They were changing the town's name to Eclipseville, and they were making big plans for street fairs. It was going to be like had it not been Gen Con, it was a 3-day weekend event, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday was the eclipse. So they had science stuff and street fair stuff and street, fair food and all kinds of things.
Vendors and everything set up. It was a big deal.
It was great that the place that I found was going to be ready for us. So that was great. I bought some Eclipse glasses, and they didn't ship, so I bought some new Eclipse glasses, and they made it on time. So getting excited. And then we started reading about how bad traffic was going to be this day when when millions of people are within range of this band and that could drive to the eclipse probably would. And so
and I'm glad that came up, because I really did have the initial response to you of like, well, if it's only a couple hours, do we have to really stay till the next day? We could just get a flight out that night. Oh man.
Good thing we didn't try that.
It's just a really, really good thing.
Yeah. It turns out that the drive down, leaving it, I think I picked you up around 6:20 or so.
Yeah.
Got the car from the airport, stopped by the local grocery store, got a flat of water, bunch of snack foods, just in case the apocalypse on the roads, we're parked and couldn't get anywhere. I picked you up, we started driving, and traffic was pretty light getting out of Indianapolis, and we felt pretty good enough that we were able to stop at a Subway about an hour, maybe it was about an hour into the drive.
Yeah, a little less, but something like that.
So we just consumed a 6-inch sub at the time and bought another foot long to have on the ice chest just in case.
Yeah.
And kept driving, and the farther we got, the better traffic looked, and we got there in about 5 hours maybe.
Yeah, I would say probably about that. We were definitely a couple hours early.
Yeah. So the eclipse itself wasn't going to happen until 1:20, and that was an hour ahead because it was in a different time zone. So we had plenty of time to get there. Yeah. So we got out of the car, realized how hot it was because we've been sitting in air conditioning the whole time. But
Yeah.
we packed up a couple of games in the backpack. We started walking towards what we thought was going to be the Arby's because we were looking for a place to sit down in air conditioning with free refills. Pretty much, I think was our list of places to go. Right.
And we had checked out a couple of diners ahead of time, done a little research, but
They were all
anything right
packed.
in the heart of downtown was just already packed with the people who had been there for the aforementioned full weekend experience, and so it was just like, well, a little less than a mile out of town, there was an intersection that had at least 4 or 5 different fast food places. As it turned out, we saw the Arby's on the map, and we're like, let's do that.
It would feel mostly the way to go play cards in an Arby's. I think at one point we talked about trying to find a Kentucky Fried Chicken since we were in Kentucky, but that didn't happen.
I was hoping they'd just call it fried chicken.
It was just fried chicken, right? So we started walking, and it was a few blocks. And it was hot. By the time we got there, it was just yuck. But we sat down, ordered I got a chopped salad or something. They had a fountain for drinks, had a restroom to use that was cleanish. So we just sat down and played. What else? A couple of rounds of L5R. Well, one round of L5R, right? Of course.
Just the one.
Yeah.
So we were both playing new decks.
That's right. We switched it up. I think did I switch over to Dragon, maybe?
Scorpion.
Scorpion, that's right. Because that was the deck we were going to play. I was going to play had we played on Sunday morning.
Yeah. That seemed appropriate since I had switched over to Crane, and I was like, of course you would pick the one that would perfectly counter what I was going to try.
Yeah, sorry.
It seemed to work out that way.
It did have every counter. I mean, every time you played a card, it was like, well, you're going to honor yourself. Well, I guess I'll dishonor you. Or, well, you got your guy buffed up. Why don't we send him home? Or it was the Scorpion deck was very reactive. I felt like I'm very happy that I didn't have to play against it during the big event because it would probably not have been fun. I didn't look like you were having very much fun when we were playing.
I was trying not to have too much unfun. But yeah. Once you your fate expired, and I finally had 3 guys tier 1, and I thought I might actually have enough to get through to your provinces, and then you played one card that let you play 2 people for free. That was a little disheartening.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, like I said, it was very reactive. It felt like Romulan should feel, kind of.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You did all your things. Well, here's my trap I'm springing. Guess what? Yeah. Anyway, we played. I don't think we quite finished. We kind of played until maybe around 1 o'clock or so. And it's like, well, it's coming up to 1 o'clock, and we notice everyone outside is kind of staring up at the sun with their glasses. And we walked out and we packed up, filled up our drinks one more time. And the sun was already about 3/4, maybe more.
Yeah, I was a little halfway or passing halfway.
Yeah, but the temperature drop was astounding because
that was the most dramatic part, I think, because we had walked there, in our backpacks. Like I looked, the map said 0.8 miles, so it's a fair distance. And we came out, we're like, oh, okay, let's get back to that big park we saw. A bunch of people have the social experience. And oh, cool! It's starting, so we'll have enough time to walk back. And we walked back, and it was like you said, we got to the restaurant, and we were drenched, and we're just like, luckily we were there for probably hour 15 minutes,
long enough to
cool down, and de-stickify. And we got back to the park, and we're like, I'm not hot at all.
No, it was remarkably pleasant. There was a nice breeze. It was dramatically cooler. I didn't even know. It even felt like it was less humid. I don't know.
Yeah, it was crazy. The drop, and we spent the whole time,
Yeah, putting glasses up, checking progress, trying to take selfies with the glasses up there so we can get a good photo of the of the actual eclipse, and right on schedule. Everyone started going, oh, you can. It was phases the astronomers called out. You can see this, and then you can see this.
Yeah.
I kind of just waited and then pulled off the glasses. The street lights came on. Was just got dark like dusk. You could see. I don't know if you could see stars, but you could certainly see planets.
You could definitely see planets.
Yeah.
There's a few bright stars came through.
And it was amazing. It was tough to look at and take a picture of. I didn't think any of my pictures really came out. Yours didn't come out too badly.
I got one fairly okay picture, but
I figured there'd be plenty of fantastic photography afterward.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about trying to take a great picture with my cell phone for a memento. But there's plenty of that to check out. But yeah, it was great.
I did like what you did, where you kind of turned it around and actually managed to get a sort of eclipse selfie, where shooting it over your shoulder with the glasses. That was a cool idea, and that worked well enough to get the idea.
Yeah,
those last 5 minutes, leading up to it, it was really cool. You could really start to see it. We had talked about it as it was coming up. It's like, is it getting darker? I'm not sure. Like, would it be noticeably darker if we didn't know this was happening, or is it just our imaginations? But the last 5 minutes, definitely you could start seeing it getting kind of near twilight.
I remember there was a blanket or a tent that someone had thrown up. I don't know, maybe 30 feet away, just down range of us a little bit in the park, and it was doing that bit where it was filtering through the trees, and you can see little semicircles all over it as the eclipse was happening or getting closer and closer. That was great. We got some great shots of that when we were leaving. On the ground, there was a tree that was right over the sidewalk. I was like, "Whoa, check that out!" And it was just a bunch of little eclipses as the sun was peeking back out again behind the moon. Favorite thing that I heard was, I bought this 10-pack of glasses, and I had one or two extra when we were at Subway. Someone wandered up. Hey, you guys have sunglasses? You got your glasses? And I'm like, yeah, we've got our glasses. She wandered off. But people were walking up and down the street selling them for $8 a piece, and I know I think I paid $8 for my 10-pack. But as we were sitting there in the park, as it was about to happen, one of the guys behind us said, "Hey, you got this extra pair of glasses. Anybody want it?" And some guy says, "Where were you $8 ago?" Anyway, eclipse happened. Fantastic show. Highly recommended. We've made plans to head out for the next one in 2024. I recommend that nobody else goes because I don't want traffic to be bad. No, check it out if it's heading your way. What is it, starting in like Maine and shooting across?
Yeah, I'm not sure the direction, but it's going instead of this last one was sort of northwest to southeast, and this one is sort of the opposite. It's coming up not through the southwestern United States, but coming from the southwest up through Texas, and then across into Maine. And
I want to say it's going right through Indianapolis, isn't it?
Yeah, there was actually a couple of really big cities it was going through, and I thought that was funny. It was going through Indianapolis. It's in April though, so it won't be.
It is unlikely Gen Con will be in April in 2024, sadly. But you never know. They move it around a lot. Yeah, so that should be fun, and it's going to be, since it's not whatever orbital dynamics, it's going to be a 6-minute eclipse instead of a 2-minute eclipse this time. So
which should be really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 minutes was neat, but I also felt like I was kind of, there was like pressure to enjoy everything at once. It's like I was trying to take pictures, but I want to like enjoy the moment. Like, because I had seen a couple of partial eclipses before, and I'm like, that's cool, it was neat. Sure, let's do it. It'll be a fun road trip. But I wasn't like super excited about it. It was cool, but having seen it now, the totality, if you have the means and the inclination, I highly recommend it. It's just really an indescribable experience.
Agreed. And it sounds like, I mean, if it is following that path, I think it's starting. It's either starting or ending in the main area. It's going through south through Mexico City, and ending at like Mazatlan, and heading back over the Pacific that way. So there'll be plenty of folks, maybe even more. I mean, starting in the Seattle area and heading south toward the Atlanta area, you might cut through more populated areas this time as it's going north to south or south to north, however it's going.
Yeah. The thing I read after the fact that was interesting was like the things to look out for were the leaves that we saw. That was cool. You know, the shadows on the ground. The thing that of course makes complete sense if you think about it, but I just never thought about it, was that for once you get to look through the center of the solar system rather than, you know, with a night sky, a nightish sky, instead of, you know, at night we are always looking away from the center of the solar system.
Sure.
So you could see, you know, a lot more planets, and we kind of caught that because we were looking for that plane or looking for planes that we're chasing, and in the process of this, like, oh yeah, look at all these planets going on. That was really cool. But I would love to focus on that more. And then the last thing I did not notice, I think we were kind of down in a little bit of a hill because we were by the riverbanks. I don't know, given our surroundings, we would have been able to notice it as much. But next time, totally looking for is apparently every horizon in every direction is a sunset.
Ah, neat. All right, yeah, I'll check that out too. Every horizon is a sunset. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It'll be. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. All the rays will be coming in at a weird angle. All right, I'll check it out. That sounds fun.
Yeah. So
I'll report back in in 8 years or in 7 years.
Keep that in mind when we look for our, you know, stake out the spot, your watch spot, you know, get a little bit of elevation so you can catch that out. So something to look out for. We did you know, after that, as entertaining as Eclipseville was, we did not really feel the need to stick it around. And much like Padres fans at a baseball game, you know, as soon as the ninth inning hit, we were out.
Yeah, we hit the road not long after totality. I mean, we kind of hung around for a few minutes trying to figure out, do we stay for, you know, make sure the closer closes things out? But, you know, it's like, all right, well, you know, we kind of saw this part on the way in, so it's going to be the same thing except reverse. Yeah. So why don't we hit the road before everyone else does?
And as far as our local traffic, that worked out.
Yeah, we got
decision.
Yeah, we the parking spot we got was great. It was just a couple of blocks from where the park we found was. We took a little shortcut to get out of the city and get on the freeway, and we're moving along fine. And then everyone else who was in the area was all filtering back up north along the same freeways that we were, and we hit all the traffic that we are glad we did not hit in the morning.
And as much as that sucked, the thing I keep repeating is at least if it was going to suck in a direction, I would rather it be leaving than going.
Yeah, no doubt. I was fully prepared to get most of the way to Hopkinsville. You know, we had the map out, right? Okay, well, it looks like the totality band starts in about 30 miles. So as long as we get there, we'll be fine. You know, we're looking around waiting for traffic to just start backing up on the way there, and it just never did. We made it just fine.
Yeah.
But you're right. On the way back out is all of our karma came back and bit us, and the 4.5-hour drive down turned into an 8.5-hour drive back north. We at one point we said, okay, there's a rest stop in like 20 miles, and we both need to take a rest stop, so we'll pull over there. And then like an hour and a half later, we still weren't there yet. It was
awful.
It was painful in more ways than one. We survived. We stopped. It was like, all right, we're gonna get back in Indianapolis. We can have some dinner, maybe get a card game in or something. No, that didn't happen. We stopped at most of the way there at a Cracker Barrel. Yeah.
Cracker Barrel. Yeah.
And that was all right. And then we got back in the car and just kept driving. And for some reason, I had programmed in the wrong address into my phone. So we drove all the way to the airport, and the hotel was not at the airport. So we had to turn around and figure out where the heck we were going. At the end of a very long day made it even longer. So, but we got checked in, dumped all our stuff off, pretty much crashed. Not remembering any games or anything we did. It was pretty much the end of the day, right?
No, we came in and collapsed.
We talked about Strife.
We did. You described it on the way in case we got a chance to play when we got back.
Yeah.
And I got flipped through the card. I kept conscious long enough to flip through the cards, but that was it because at that point I had a 5 a.m. wake up call, 5:20 or something to catch the shuttle.
Yeah, and after all that, you had like a 5:20 shuttle or a 6:15 or something that didn't quite work for your flight. So we talked about you were trying to figure out which one you want to take. So same time, 24 hours later, I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I got to figure out what shuttle I'm going to take. So I called down and scheduled for the same one you did. And I'm like, okay, I'll just take the early one. That's fine. 5 minutes later, I called back. Yeah, I need to cancel that. I actually have a car.
Oh.
I had a rental car.
Say, did you return your car?
No, I just wasn't paying attention. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so
at some point while we were scheduling that, and you were like, "Well, I could just give you a ride." I'm like, "You don't want to get up that early, do you?" And you were like, "No, I don't."
No, not at all.
Good.
You hopped on your flight. I take it was
uneventful. I slept through the whole thing.
Nice. I got up and went to go visit one of my customers in Indianapolis, which was great because that turned my trip into part of a business trip. So I was able to get some work done there. I got to see some more of Indianapolis. I was looking for a place to eat. I went to this little grill that the people there were really nice. The food is all right, but the people there were really nice. So that was great. Probably could have walked. It wasn't too far away from the little hotel we were staying at. And then the next morning, I did the same thing you did, except I drove myself instead of taking the shuttle. I got there too early, made it through all the check-in stuff, and had an easy flight back. So a dramatically long return drive, but for the most part, totally worth it. Yeah?
Totally worth it. Yeah. 10 out of 10 stars. With totality again.
Yes. I feel like that should be
1 out of 1 star.
0 out of 1 stars, but
0 out of 1 stars.
One moon out of 1 star.
1 moon out of 1 star.
Yeah. So excellent trip. Overall, the gaming was great. I managed to post the L5R stuff, all the cards that I picked up, the nine promo cards plus the 1 stronghold, and they all sold on eBay. So that was great. I posted that ACG deck again, and it's not even anybody looking at it. So
wow.
I'm not going to post it a third time. I'm going to find. Does anyone in our play group not have one now? Because we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, and there's only 4, 5, 6 of us.
I don't know. Like Brian got one from Charlie. Matt did not seem interested.
I mean, I could certainly keep one of the two. I was planning on selling them both, but I'll keep one.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of wishing I would have offered it up to the second place team. Hey, $20, you want it? All right. But I can't complain. A couple $100 for the L5R cards. That certainly covered more than I expected. So that's great.
Sure. More than the tournament.
Yeah. And I saw that the first pack has been up for pre-release. Did you see that?
Oh, I did not.
$14, 20 new cards, and you get 3 of each.
All right. Nice.
I think that's what it was.
Is it focusing on
all 7 clans?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, everybody gets like 2 cards.
Everyone gets 2 or 3 cards. Probably 2 cards because they said there's going to be some more non-aligned support as well.
Yeah. Well,
but 2 or 3 more people will mean
2 or 3 less non-aligns.
2 or 3 less non-aligns, yeah, to make a full deck.
Nice.
Guys, well, it reminds me of like Energize after Premiere, right? It's all the cards that they cut so they would make the first set fit.
Exactly.
All right. So, what would you like to talk about next? We can talk a little bit about TNG or Vulcans.
Well, that's the big banner at the front, right?
Yeah.
The TNG week, which is a return of the Spotlight series, which has been kind of preview touted in an article. So
yeah, we got an article about first edition Federation. I'm hoping we get I'm guessing we're going to get a second edition TNG. That makes sense.
I would certainly expect.
Yeah. What was the last TNG or Federation deck you played?
You know, I'm sure I threw something together. Actually, I think I was looking through the other day and I saw that that was one of my last regional 2E decks was a TNG solver because I had not the care to put together anything interesting. So I just threw something together so that we would have an extra person.
I also have recently played TNG just because it was something to play. I think I copied somebody's deck list. I had played my favorite TNG deck that I played a lot was the Tiny Missions with the Enterprise from Generations that's crashing for bonus points.
Sure.
But it's been at least 2 years since I played that. I recently played this deck that called Doctors Without Boundaries, which was nice. It was like the Doctor Crusher on the Enterprise with a bunch of non-uniques.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
That was fun, but didn't do very well. Well, it looks like I got 6th place. That's terrible. But man, on the Winnie side, it's been. I think I tried playing historical poker games a long time ago. 3 years ago.
That was what I was just thinking. I was like, that's the last one I can really remember.
Yeah, before that, it's TNG Sealed from a long time ago, and the Voyager Home Alpha Quadrant movie era. Wow, that's a long time ago too. I feel like I need to play TNG again.
I did do well. That's not TNG though. I did First Contact, like the Enterprise E crew at Gen Con a couple years ago.
I would say Enterprise E has a TNG icon in 2E, so it's probably close enough for 1E.
Let's see. Yeah, Johnny's Enterprise E deck at Worlds. Last time Worlds was at Gen Con. That's probably it. Oh, and I built a TNG. Oh, that's probably the most involved interaction I had was I built a TNG deck for Jim.
Oh, right. Yeah.
When he was started playing, and that was nicely scripted.
Continuing mission.
Yeah. So that was easy to kind of like, here's a base set of crew. Here's everybody you recognize. Here's how it works, and here's how you play the seed deck and for your first 3 turns, and go. And he picked it up really quick. I think he got 2nd place in his first tournament.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, they're always going to have the most recognizable personnel. They're always going to have the biggest mission selection and the biggest group of personnel to pull from to match those missions. So it's probably, I mean, if it's not the first deck you hand somebody, it's got to be pretty close, right?
Yeah. Duck Blind, Continuing Mission, Scientific Diplomacy, Equivalent Replicator. Yeah.
Yep.
It's very TNG flavorful. Yeah. So that was good. I know I had to kind of play test it a bit to get it to be, something I thought would be decent, but still easy to pick up. So.
Right on. What do you think is going to be next? Do you think they're going to go in 1E release order?
I would assume that. I mean, that's always been the major, the major affiliations. At least to start with our Federation Klingon Romulan.
All right, I'm gonna have to look through. I think I want to say last year Gen Con I played just a generic, kind of boring as all get out Klingon deck. But I don't know the last time I played Klingon in first edition. But that was my go-to deck. I mean, after when we first started, I was playing Romulan just because that seemed like a good thing to play. But a while after, probably in like just around the First Contact era, when we were traveling around and going to a few events, I was playing Klingon all the time. with like Duros and uh, all the weird alternate universe guys. They were pretty well
Oh
stacked.
yeah, like Chemtar and
Exactly. Yeah. And like just using the
Moog
Feklar.
and Gerard.
Yeah. Just flying around, picking up a curl on Noscos and blowing people up. That was what I played a lot. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's hey, I'm always ready to play some Klingons. I bust out my Martok Nor.
Yeah, and I'm looking at my deck list. House of Duros is a Predator. I think that was the Treachery Klingon Nemesis stuff. I'm gonna have to dig that out again. Cool. All right. The most recent release though is Vulcans. Have you had a chance to look through any of it? Is there anything that's jumping out at you for
I
a first
have
new deck?
skimmed it, and I like to get an idea of the engines and how everything works together. Yeah, I'm I hate to say it, I almost like wanted to know enough to try and counter it because I feel like it's going to come out right away. Um, but uh, I'm both interested and kind of skeptical about the whole manipulation thing. It seems really too mucky, annoying.
There's a lot of that. I mean, I can understand that's kind of what they were going for at the beginning of Enterprise. Clearly the first couple episodes, that's all they did, right? They were just in the
Yeah,
way. But that's something that's difficult to capture flavor-wise without just making it annoying as all get out. So
yeah,
I am looking forward to cutting up some cards and putting a deck together. I don't know that I would say I'm looking forward to playing against it. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
I would have liked there to been some kind of flavor with um, I don't know, some kind of way to throttle it with missions, because part of that was, once Starfleet kind of got out there and started proving themselves, they kind of stepped back and were like, all right, you know what, maybe we were wrong, maybe you can handle it, we'll stop getting in your way. So, like, maybe after you complete your first mission, they can't, be quite as annoying somehow.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm hoping, like, some of the other part aspects of the distance look interesting. Um, I like that you basically have the the pre warp one to sort of supplant. Uh, you can use that instead of protect the timeline. It looks
Yes.
like, and that
Yeah.
helps you use all your Vulcans, and then you can use all your Vulcans with any of the other engines, and that kind of is your unifying aspect. So that's cool. I mean, it certainly looks interesting. I like that they did the IDIC
Mm-hmm.
instead of an icon. That works just 3 cards with subtitles. So, download
And
one of these as part of your starting thing,
and they managed to get courage, power, and wisdom in there, which were the three test names for the sets, which I'm guessing that's Legend of Zelda, yeah?
Yep.
Right. Well, congratulations to Story for sneaking that in. That's great.
Yeah, and it's fairly appropriate. I think courage
So,
is probably the only
yeah,
really reach, for a spy organization.
I'm looking through, trying to figure out who would be the best counterpart to assimilate Vulcan. Surak has got a lot of dots. I mean, he's got 5 dots,
Yeah,
and
but
his only bad skill is strength.
I was gonna say he's got 2 of a bunch of stuff, but you don't really care about
No,
multiples. Um, what about somebody who has Vashar?
that'd be interesting as a integrity. Sorry, a special intelligence skill. Yeah,
Yeah, that way you can get something you might not otherwise be able to. Saren has a lot of good. I'm trying to think of stuff you don't get with the Borg that kind of slow you down. Law.
Yeah. VLAS, Law, Treachery. I was only got 3 dots, though.
Everybody's
But
gonna
you can
have
get Orbital Bombardment, which would be pretty cool.
All
right. Well, kudos to the first person who managed to assimilate a Vulcan and then assimilate Vulcan itself. That is how you slow down your opponent.
welcome new affiliation.
Yeah.
Resistance is futile.
Yeah, I guess they have an advantage, though, because they don't report to outposts, so it wouldn't be the end of everything, but they probably don't have very many people on the surface either to assimilate. There's no Vulcan headquarters either.
Right, it's all through the time location, so you don't really need a headquarters. So nice advantage for anti-Borg. Resistance is logical.
Yeah, there's a lot of new missions too. We're gonna have to go through those a little more depth. There's a lot of different colorful icons on a lot of them, so everybody gets a little bit. There's a Romulans, Dominion, a couple of Klingon ones, Bajoran one. I like the Bajoran one as a monastery. That fits pretty well. Priest Vedic, yeah. A new Kronos too. I wonder how well you could throw down Kronos and a bunch of Vulcan missions, and but it doesn't. He'd want Vulcan and Klingon missions if you're going to try to pretend to be something and then end up playing Borg.
Oh yeah.
Huh. All right, I'll have to put some more thought into that. All right. Anything else we want to cover before we wrap this up? I think we've hit everything from Gen Con. Yeah.
Yep. I just got from Dragon Con, but we're pretty deep into the episode for another con report, and I'm kind of deep into con exhaustion to go back on it today. So I think we can save that for next week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Next week, we're going to have a special guest. John Corbett will be joining us to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Masters, and so we'll get Dragon Con talk in 2 weeks then. Plan?
Sounds good. And that will also be a preview for a tournament because we have a 1E OTF constructed scheduled for a week from Saturday. So if you are in the area, if you're interested in playing, that's we're getting back into the post summer, everybody being too busy to play era. So hopefully try to get back into that on I think it's the 16th. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me know how that goes, and we'll talk about it when we get back from that. We'll do a preview for it, and then you can give me an update because I will be out of town. That is the last weekend I'm traveling for, and then I will be back in the weekly, every other week tournament schedule. That sounds pretty good. I should be able to make a few of those.
Awesome. All right. Well, in the meantime, that is the limit of our intelligence for this week.
Quite.
I am Sir Rogue.
And I am Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I will draw to end.